Anytime you put anything in front of your family, it's going to hurt. Even when you think you're doing the right thing for your family because, hey, I'm a good provider, I'm making sure they're comfortable. Okay, but that doesn't replace the relationship, the bond that you have with your family.
I walk in redemption.
Hey everyone, Michael Franzese here, and for the past 3 or 4 years or so on YouTube, I've been telling a lot of mob stories, and I think people enjoyed hearing it. And I want to make it clear, I never glorify the life. I try my best not to do that. And the reason for that, I've always said it's really a bad life. And why is it a bad life? Because I don't know any family of any member of that life that hasn't been totally devastated, including my own. Any lifestyle that does that to a family is just not a good life. I want to clear some things up here with me. When I got into the life, really in the early 70s, it was basically to help my father. Around the same time, I was with a young woman that I eventually married in 1975, the same year that I took the oath and became a made guy. And the problem for me is that becoming the best possible mob guy, making the most money that I possibly could, was more important to me than really concerning myself with my family. Now, I wanted to provide for them, don't get me wrong. I wanted to take care of them, wanted to do all the right things, but I didn't realize how much time that was taking away from my relationship with my then wife and eventually my 3 children. And that went on for a number of years. And I was very successful in that life. People know my history. I did a lot of great things, made a tremendous amount of money, took care of my family. They had everything. We had boats, we had houses in 3 different places. I had a house that was almost 10,000 square feet with a racquetball court and everything, 2 acres of land. We had it all. But I was drifting away from my family because being the best possible guy and supporting my family was more important to me than actually spending time with my family. I was so driven in that regard. What happened as a result? Well, that marriage didn't work out. Eventually we grew apart and eventually divorced. And sometimes things just don't work out. We understand that. But really the real tragedy for me was the relationship with my children. And even until today, all these years later, 2 of my daughters that reside across country in New York, relationship has never been really repaired, never been the same. As a result of that, relationship with my grandchildren has suffered, and that's hurtful. And I attribute that again to my being so driven to take care of them in one way that we drew ourselves apart. A prime example of somebody wanting to be the best possible business person that they can be would be my father. Now, obviously, his business was organized crime. But what was so important for my dad, he wanted to be known as, a guy that's going to die with his boots on. He would never talk to the government. He would always be stand-up his whole life. It meant so much to him. His legacy in that life meant so much to him. Like some of us, our legacy in our business meant so much. Well, my dad did die with his boots on at the age of 103. Never cooperated with the government, did 40 some odd years in prison. There was no way that he was ever going to do that. But an interesting thing, I had a conversation with my father. He was back in prison again on one of his many violations. And my mom had just passed away in 2012. And I was sitting with my dad, and I had been a little upset with him because after his 3rd violation, I said to him, "Dad, you can't stay in New York. I know, this life is important to you, but our family is falling apart. My brother had a drug problem. My sister died of an overdose of drugs. My mother and father were just, growing so far apart. I saw it." And I said, "You need to move out of New York. You got to preserve the family." Well, he didn't want to do that. It was more important to him, his legacy. And he said, "Don't worry about it. I love my family." And he did, no question. He loved his family, loved me, loved his wife. But he didn't understand how he was creating this division between all of us. And so he kept going back to prison. So when we were at this meeting, I said to him, "Dad, you're a stand-up guy, but look what you did to your family." He got very upset with me. He said, "No, none of this was my fault." I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "Well, I was framed on this case. I didn't commit this crime. I'm doing time for a crime that I didn't commit." And I said, "Dad, I believe that. I'll take that to my grave." I said, "But you didn't get framed because you were a doctor, a lawyer, or a priest. You were framed because you're a mobster and you refused to walk away and take care of your family." Well, he got offended by that, but you know what? It's the truth. He put his life in front of his family life. Now, how many of us do that and suffer in a different way? Obviously, you're not going to prison, but your family is growing apart. Anytime you put anything in front of your family, it's going to hurt. Even when you think you're doing the right thing for your family because, hey, I'm a good provider, I'm making sure they're comfortable. Okay, but that doesn't replace the relationship, the bond that you have with your family. Happened to me. My first family collapsed. I attribute that all to myself. My ex-wife was a good woman. I don't blame her, but she needed more, and I didn't provide it for her. It was really on me. And of course, now I'm married again, and I have a wonderful family, and I was very, very careful not to make that mistake a second time. And I'm doing okay. I have no issues with my life at this point. We're comfortable taking care of my family. But what was more important to me was making sure I had that relationship. Even during my time in prison, what mattered to me was the communication that I had with my wife and our little children so that we wouldn't, I wouldn't make the same mistake and grow apart. And it's worked for me, and I've been able to now be married for 38 years and have a healthy relationship with our 4 children. And, recently, for whatever reason, so many men that have been successful out there, have been driven to do the same thing that I once was driven to do, provide for their family, be the best possible person in their business that they could be, make sure that they were, looked upon as being an upstanding person in the community. But at the same time, the relationship with their family has suffered, and they've grown apart. And that's a terrible thing. That's something that we shouldn't allow to happen in our lives. And I know a lot of the messages and a lot of the comments that I get, men are suffering because of that. They don't want it to happen. They didn't do it intentionally. It's not something that they set out to do. They set out to do the right thing. And in many ways they are, in building their business, providing for their family. But taking that time away from the family is what hurt. And some of these guys feel lost, they really do. They don't know how to get back. They don't know how to repair that relationship. What steps to take to really bring that family back together. Well, I've had a lot of experience with that. And I can tell you for the last 25 years, I've been encouraging men in all walks of life, to try to obviously be the best possible person that they can be for themselves, but also stressing how important it is to maintain their family relationships. Honestly, if it wasn't for my relationship with my wife, I don't think I'd be the type of person that I am today. I mean, she's helped me, she's encouraged me. The same with my children. It's so important. And for you guys that are missing that, I understand, I can relate. Like I said, it happened to me at one time. And I have a team of men around me that in some ways have experienced the same thing and have the same heart that I do to help, men that might be in your category. And I really mean that. And you know what? There is a way to repair that. Nothing is beyond hope. I mean, normally it's not. Things haven't gotten that far out of hand. You're still good people. You still have good intentions. You still want to do the right thing. Sometimes you just don't know how. Sometimes the separation has been over a period of time that, well, how do I make this work now? How do I put this back together? Well, I've been very keyed in on this, and we've, over a number of years now, have created some great resources. And we've helped a lot of men tremendously. And this is so satisfying to me and to my team. We have wonderful resources. We have programs that we have put together. We have encounters with men, several times, almost daily now. That's how successful this platform, this program has been. So I encourage you, there's a link somewhere here in this video. I encourage you to take a look at some of the resources we offer. See if you're one of those men that I'm talking about. And if it's even clicking in your mind a little bit, then you're one of those men. And people, I got to tell you something, guys. There was nothing more powerful for me than being around a group of men that there was a certain brotherhood created, where we can talk to one another, where when we had issues or problems, we can discuss it with one another. Unfortunately, back then, the problems weren't the ones that I'm talking to you about now, but it was still great to have this brotherhood. Well, to have this kind of brotherhood and this relationship with guys that have been there and done that and have successfully turned things around, and know how to help you in that regard, it's priceless. And I really mean that. So we want to help you. And if this is something that you think could be helpful to you, there's no shame in it at all, guys. Believe me, there's no shame in seeking help. Hey, I'm 72 years old. When I need advice or I need help, I'm quick to call up a brother and say, hey, I'm struggling a little bit here. I can use your advice or help. There's nothing more important than that. And there's no shame in it whatsoever. Believe me. Okay, this is what we're all about. Men helping men, iron sharpening iron. So if you feel that, we could be helpful, anything I've said here today might be moving you in any direction, then please jump on the link, take a look at some of the resources that we have, and let's see if we can follow it up. And we want to be helpful to you. We really do. And I think that you're going to enjoy what we have to offer. So for all of you that have listened in today, hopefully you find some value in this. And again, we really do encourage you. If you have a comment, whether you agree or disagree or just want to reach out in some way for help, please put a comment in the comment box. We do read them, and I have a good team. I don't get to all of them myself, but it's okay because my team, has the same heart that I have, and we love to respond to you. And if you want to take it a step further, there's a link in here. Please go to that link and look at some of the resources that we have. I think they'll be very helpful to you. And that's it. So how do I always leave you? Same way, never going to change. Be safe. Please, be safe. Ladies, I always tell you, look around in the parking lots. Make sure when you park your car, there are other vehicles around you. Crazy things are happening, even in affluent areas, okay? Place where I live, Fashion Island. It's unbelievable. Don't want to get into it all. Okay, we have enough bad news out there. Be healthy. Take care of yourself. People are commenting, Michael, you're looking pretty good. Because I work hard, okay, and I watch my diet, and you got to do that. You got to stay on this earth as long as you possibly can. All the new medicine that we have, the advances, we have a shot to live a little bit longer, so take care of yourself. And I really mean this, people. God bless each and every one of you and your families, because we all need God in our lives, okay? And I'll see you next time. Take care.